dog eat dog, unbending, slanderers. So at times when you say, especially in the face of truth, when you say I can't change, it is who I am. That is unbending, slanderers, impulsively wild, savage, cynical, treacherous, ruthless, bloated windbags, addicted to lust and allergic to God. I like that. They'll make a show of religion, but behind the scenes they are animals. So when you see them, they preach very well, like I'm doing now, but that shouldn't be your permanent judgment. How are they after they leave the stage? It says they are like animals. Stay clear of these people. Do you have Passion Translation? No. NIV? Let me see NIV. So I mean, as well finish chapter 1 to 5 now. It says, but mark this, there will be terrible times in the last days. People will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, without love, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not lovers of the good, treacherous, they are rash, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying its power, have nothing to do with them. Thank you. Paul, locked in prison, writing this, was still thinking about the state of the church as at that time. And of course, the scripture being an inspired word of God means what I say unto one, I say unto all. And those saints back then, almost 2,000 years, has not changed now. Perilous times and precious truth. It says, notice that in the last days, perilous time will come. Last days started, or let me start from perilous times. You've seen various translations. It talks about troubles, difficulties, stressful situations. This is what you are going to find. It's not going to get better, but we only get better. Now, the word used for perilous here in the New Testament actually describes a particular, the same word that Jesus used in Matthew 8:28 when he was talking about the two, I think there are two now, the madmen of Gathering, those demonics. He said 28, Matthew 8:28. He says, and when he was come to the other side of the country of Gergesenes, them met him two possessed with devils, coming out of the tombs, exceedingly fierce, perilous. That's the same word. Remember, Paul used fierce when he was describing the manifestation of the end time, so that no man might pass by that way. So it's going to be difficult. That is a classic description of perilous, where you have two guys like savages, untamed, wild beasts. Now, these things that Paul is describing here, he said last days. Last days is essentially Jesus ascending, the church birthed, and it ends when Jesus comes back. That period in between, that is the last days. And Paul, speaking here, started telling us that in the last days there will be bad times. Even though he said bad times, he was essentially saying bad people. You need to understand that all the description he gave there started by saying men shall be. He wasn't describing a situation only, he was describing people. So we should note that the hardness of the time Paul is telling us is not war, is not the famine, is not the problem of money, dollar rising and all these calamities. He was simply telling us that in the last days men will be more depraved and their wickedness will show forth. So it was essentially talking about the corruption that will be found among believers, because the world is forever going to be the world. The world doesn't get better, the world doesn't change, the world only improves in their wickedness. Now, this was written to a pastor that is over a church, so that tells you he was not just describing the state of the world. Jesus already told us that in this world you're going to have trouble. So we know the world is corrupt as it were, but we should not be corrupt like the world. You can find the boat on the water, like they say, but once the water starts getting on the boat is going to sink. So he was telling him here, you are going to be like a boat on a water of corruption in the world. The world in the Bible is represented by the sea. When you see the Bible talk about sea, water, flood, they are words depicting the world in general. So you are like a ship on it, and the world must not find its place inside you. So this is not described. So don't go out there and be looking for lovers of pleasure street. No, it is people, believers, that is describing. Remember verse 5, it says they have a form of godliness. So they come to church, they pray, they join 7 a.m. prayer meetings, they join 6 a.m. prayer meetings, they join all kinds of prayer meetings, but they refuse the word that can change them. Are you with me? Spurgeon said this. He says, they are brethren, happy brethren, who are looking forward to everything getting better and better until at last this present age passes away. You see, they will not be able to sustain their hopes. He says, for the scripture gives no solid basis to rest upon. Apart from when Jesus will come back and take over the rulership of the world, this world is going to sink into pandemonium more and more and more. The Bible is clear. End of quote. So you need to understand that. Also, you look at Matthew 16, 1-4. Jesus rebuked the religious leaders of his days because they did not or would not understand the meaning of their times. He called them hypocrites. That you know how to discern the face of the sky, but you cannot discern the signs of the time. I think I wrote an article in the Plumbline magazine on the signs are clear, right from this very passage of the Bible. So you do well to read it if you have bought it. It says it is possible. If you look at it also, Jesus will rebuke some of us believers today because we are unaware that we are in the last days. We just move on, enter everything without necessarily asking biblical, scriptural, motivated question. Are you listening to me? Now, 2-5 is a description of the human condition in the last days, and we have already read that, so I'm just going to read through my notes for the sake of time. It says men will be lovers of themselves. That is the foundation. That is the starting point. Everything described as this end time manifestation, it's based on self. And until you crucify yourself, we can preach all the money, we can preach all the success. In fact, Christians, our success is not so much as in material things, but in our relationship with the Lord primarily. He says men will be lovers of themselves. What I don't even need to start preaching about. You look at yourself. When you have money, what do you think of first? Do you think of the people that God told you to help, or you think of all the things you have desired to have that you don't have? One way I always know Christians or people that don't learn from difficult times that God puts them through is that when they get into their manifestation, it is focused on self. And when I see such people, I know they will not last. That's why it seems believers' success is always undulating. It's always difficult to maintain that trajectory because we are not of the world. So God will not use the standard of the world to judge us. When Joseph came out of captivity and became prime minister, the first time he interpreted a dream, it was focused on self. When you get back, remember me. When you get back, remember me. And God ensured he forgot him. But the second dream he interpreted, he did not even say remember me. He pointed back to God, then gave wisdom that could help and sustain people. He wasn't thinking of himself. He didn't even remember his brothers and sisters. So it was easy when the brothers came to forgive them, because at that point self is already dead. I pray some of you will not get money enough until yourself dies, and that may look like I am cursing you, because God is more interested in you making it with him than you making it with the world. And you yourself know that the last 50,000 you got, you remember all the sins that people have committed against you. It was at the point of maybe you paid for something and you saw the balance, you realized 50,000 is not money anymore. Then maybe you calm down. When your character is tempered by physical material things, don't be too quick to think you have made it. It's when you make it, you have the money and nothing changes. That is when you should start looking up and thanking God that you are getting there. It's very important you understand this, because we are taught everywhere that we should love ourselves. And that is not the scriptural way. Because when you love yourself, it becomes a faulty foundation for you to build human relationships on. Because even when you are with someone, you are only thinking of how to advance yourself. You are not thinking of what you can bring to the table. And we don't need to encourage us people to love themselves. It comes naturally with the fall. Everybody love themselves. Look at a small child. He doesn't even ask whether the mother has eaten. He just keeps crying till he's attended to. So we are not taught to love ourselves. We are not taught to hate ourselves. It comes naturally. But Paul said that through the grace of God given to him, he's encouraging every one of us not to think highly of ourselves than we ought to think. Remember that in Romans chapter 12 verse 3. It says you think soberly, because God has dealt to each man a measure, not that measure, not all the measure, a measure of faith. So we must see ourselves as we really are, both in the sight of God and in the sight of men. Especially we must see ourselves in the light of the gospel. In me dwelleth no good thing. When Paul said that, he wasn't talking about his spirit, he was talking about his flesh. You rely on self-love and all these things. There is nothing the flesh, not this physical one now, the training that the word gives you can do for you. Are you with me? So this self-love is the basis for all depravity that you see in the world today. Lovers of themselves. I come first. Every other person can go to hell. That's why a politician will steal money. That's why they pay you, they give you money to pay workers 40,000 naira, but you choose to fix the money for extra 30 days because of the interest you want to make on it, with the justification that you still pay them eventually, not minding that 30 days a lot of them might die, they might lose their children, they may change their children out of school, and such money is corrupt. At best you will have it, but your end will not be good, and that is not a curse. You know, when we say these things, they say, it's hard message. It's not. If secular wisdom teaches you that there is consequences, I don't understand how you think that there are no consequences when you disobey the Father of light himself, in whom there is no variableness or a shadow of turning, meaning is constant in everything he says. So make sure you look into your flesh and you get rid of self-love, because it's not an accident that the first of these qualities is centered on self. The original word described there is self-centered, self-loving. Simply put, I only love myself and I don't care about any other thing. Are you with me? Yes. The next one is what? Lovers of money, right? So if you love self, you love money. It's nothing new. Today, it's just that the difference is that all of us like money. So the Bible didn't use like. You like money, that's why when you work, they don't pay you, you get upset. It's not a sin to be upset that they didn't pay you, because it's expected. Like talks about affinity, but love simply means you will do anything, either righteous or unrighteous, to get it. So we all have the ability to pursue money. In fact, people pursue it more today than ever before. Love of money is what will make you prioritize anything that will bring extra money, as opposed to anything that will make you godly. That's why we always make that example every time. When your work increases and you can't decrease your enjoyment and pleasure time, your Christianity is already faulty. Don't let anybody deceive you. You see, it's not a crime, and what we are doing, we see the church grow, so it gives us confidence that growth organically will happen. But we can also tweak it that you will feel comfortable when you're around the truth. But the truth of the matter is, you can't say you are so busy. People say they are busy, but they still have time to watch movies. They still have time to go to movies, hang out. But you see, the first thing we start is church time. The first thing you explain away is your personal prayer and Bible reading time. There is no way you can build anything sustainable. We keep making this mistake. We keep thinking we operate at the same level as unbelievers. And I understand, because a lot of us are not even sure if we are born again. So it's easy for us to compare ourselves to unbelievers all the time. But there's no time in my life I look at even the friend that is close to me that is not a Christian that I consider us working with the same principle. It is impossible. So when they say, oh, let's hang out, and I say I'm not going, they start mocking. So you say, oh, I don't want them to abuse me. It's because you don't know. You are not. You are. I don't want to say you are not born again, so that it not be like I'm judging you. But it's because you are not born again. Don't you know the father? Don't you know your dad? Your biological dad, that is. Don't you know your dad? So if somebody comes and tells you this is not your dad, are you not going to argue it? Yeah, it's the same thing. So when you say somebody is making you feel lesser than you are because you did not hang out with them, I said, don't let's waste energy. You are born again. But as far as I'm concerned, you are not born again. Because they are not talking about you not making mistakes. There are sins that are done in acting. But there are sins that speak to identity. Sins that speak to identity, you should ask yourself. It's just like when you are arguing about gay. That speaks to identity. So if you feel sad and out that they are abusing you, that you are a virgin, that means your life is wasted. Then we should ask you originally if you know what you are doing in the first instance. Has anybody abused you that you had 5 A's in school, so your life is worse? So it's that thinking, like I was explaining to my wife and some people yesterday. I don't know if other people were there. The main problem we have is not just all this worldliness, but a lot of Christians have faulty pastoring. They don't really have sound word teachers anymore in the body of Christ, and that is the truth, because everybody just knock it here and there and make it sound okay. So when you listen to people like me, it makes you uncomfortable, not because I have nothing to gain, I'm not God's registrar, but these things are simple. You can't make me feel out of place for not following you to drink. If I want to drink, I will go and drink. And you can ask any of my friends. I've always told them in principle, I do what I want to do, but you can't induce me to do what I don't want to do. Even actually as an unbeliever, I can't stand it. I hate people controlling me. Not now as a Christian that I know the liberty God has given me, then I will now stand in such a way that you will say something that will change me. So you see people say, like one of the cases where handling with my wife, he said, no, it's my husband, it's my wife that pushed me. I said, don't be foolish. The day you were upset with your wife, why did she push you also to slap a mopo on the way? That she has her fault. It works better when everybody accepts responsibility. Are you with me? So don't let all these things kill you. Lover of money. You just have to do everything. You are taking 7 jobs. That is not allowing you to pray. The devil is just marinating you. You know how you do chicken? They are putting lime, everything, cutting your skin and setting you up for the day of barbecue. Spiritual barbecue. I'm not saying don't take jobs, but I walked away from a job that we had in Calabar many years back. I'm talking about a job that back then, that was 20, in the last 20 now, but that was like 2010, 20, no, we're still at Rumamasi. Yeah, so that was like 08, 9, 10. I'm talking about weekend, coming back weekend, not salary, over 200,000 after work. But it was coming with conditions every day as the work progresses. That was not comfortable for me anymore. So I told them, we round up now. Yes, I said, I'm not. He said, how will you make all this money? I said, it's not worth making the money. And I have a second wife, another child outside wedlock. He said, I'm not doing. I am going. He said, oh, was I not tempted? I said, temptation comes to all. But your identity should keep you. You should be able to look at it and say, okay, even if I do this, have you asked yourself, even if I keep doing this thing for money, how long? How long will I continue? Can't I stop? Can't I just make up my mind one day that will not be? Don't be lovers of money. Let me read you a story. Because I had to check, I saw it during my study, so I had to Google the woman again, just to be sure. Now, this was around 1992, between 95. Her name is Brenda Blackman. And she was a journalist that became successful, teaching a course, how to marry money. You can Google it. Now, this course attempts to show men and women how to marry rich. And the cost as at then was $39 per person. Now, in this course, she offered helpful hints. How you look through your prospective mate's checkbook, study their deposits, assess their income levels, I mean, she built the confidence of those she was teaching with several, these motivational chants. Some were like, I want to be rich. That's when you get to the class, you chant to yourself 7 times. I want to be rich. I want to be rich. I deserve to be rich. I am rich. I was born to be rich. Who did his mother born to be poor in the first instance? In fact, there are many examples. Let me not distract myself with it. Bottom line, she was teaching this, she was single. Now she's a single mother. I don't think she's, because I couldn't finish her story, still put on my laptop. I know I like, because you see, I've said it before, you can become rich by marrying 2 money, sincerely speaking. But you will not really have the respect. So you can mortgage that, because you just say, I won't suffer. So understand the balance. I'm not saying now because of that, you are looking for the most nonsense person to marry that will treat you anyhow. But I'm speaking to the fact that your love for money should not motivate your decision. Says men will be boasters, proud, blasphemers. Boasting, pride, and blasphemy, they are nothing new, but it's just that they are prominent today, just probably like it was then. You see a boaster, a proud person, all they are saying is nobody matters, God does not matter, all that matters is me. They are all over your social media, they are your influencers. They are even pastors that boast more than the devil. They are ministers that are blasphemers in things they do. I don't want to make statements now to avoid looking somehow. So another one there, it says they will be what? Disobedient to parents. Okay, I wrote here, boasting and blasphemy, it's everywhere. Among celebrities, your culture idolizes it. Many people today, they even become wealthy by calculated boasting, pride, and blasphemy. You say something on towards, people follow you, and you can monetize it online and all that. Now it says they'll be disobedient to parents. This destroyed America, and it's already destroying this country. Any culture where you see how do I put that now? A monstrous rise in the death of young people, especially between ages 13 and, let me peg it at 39 at most. It is directly related to this. And it doesn't matter whether your daddy is an Ifa worshipper. If you are disobedient to your parent, your days will be cut short. God is the one that said it. I know when we present it, we say, oh, Old Testament, what it means is that then it was literal, but now it means, no, you will not live long. The Bible has no personal interpretation. God tied a promise to this first. Even before salvation, he had tied promise to honoring parents. So try to honor your parents. You will not agree with them on everything, but don't suffocate them. Don't suffocate them with your arguments. Don't suffocate them with your disobedience. How can your parents think of you and their BP rises? If that is happening, it doesn't matter. How can they tell you, with all your Christianity, we regret giving birth to you? Does that go together? No. Because Christianity is not just about speaking in tongues, raising the dead, as beautiful as those things are. Christianity is this, your character. That is what changes people quickly. I want to start reading a lot of American examples here, because that is their business. 13-year-olds suing their parents. I don't like the way my dad is talking to me. Thank God for Africa. Now they are not even beating again, as it were. Parents are prevailing. But you and I know, we are over 20 here, which all of you are. You know that even if you look at your parents the way they don't like, it can attract slap. Now they will slap you like your eyeballs. You'll be looking for your eyeballs on the floor before you say, stay there. And you know next time that devil comes and says, look at your mother that way, that devil too remembers that, the last slap safe, even though it was your flesh, it touched my own spirit inside you. Say, let us avoid it. Because it's not the beating that is the problem. It is the lesson that the beating is supposed to give you. So you say that they are beating me, you are missing the point. They are training you with the beating. So you will remember to behave well when you remember the slap that can come with it. But now people say all kinds of things. I see people push their parents, people use F word for their parents and all that. So that is that. It says they will be disobedient towards parents. It says they will be unthankful, unholy, unloving, unforgiving. Ever since Adam, actually, you see this in various degrees. And Paul said these things we are going to see in these last days. On loving here, in King James, he says without natural affection, without family love. Actually, that's what it means. On loving there, people are going to disregard normal family love and obligation. They don't want to stay and take care of their wives, take care of their children. They just want to get their salaries as men and sit at the pub and drink their destiny away. It is a man that is unloving that will do that. Yes, men, we probably have the most unappreciated work, fine. But it's a responsibility God has given you. Even if you change from a man and you transgenderize yourself, it doesn't still change the spirit of the manhood that is inside you. It's still the fact that you don't want to take responsibility. That's what you are running from. It's that simple. It says there will be slanderers. They will say hurtful lies about other people. I mean, look at the media today. To slander somebody, just post something. It goes viral. Nobody finds out whether it is right or it is true or not. So when Paul was writing these things, we probably think, it's a town crier going one by one. Now it's just with a stroke of keyboard and 15 naira internet, you can ruin somebody's life. And you should not be like that. So that's why it seems some of those things, when I come hard on them, a Christian forwarding messages, you are doing the devil's work. Why don't you find something better to do with your life? You say, this message will bless people. Forward the Bible instead. And I look at all the people that post WhatsApp statuses a lot, especially in Spring Hill. I check all the time. I hardly see any of them post scriptures. Hardly. Let alone now post attend Bible study. It's the same thing. You are becoming a slanderer gradually, because that's how the devil increase your assignment. I'm not saying post attend service. God will do what he has to do. But you see, when you are comfortable posting everything stupid, everything that doesn't make sense, you won't know, because you keep forwarding those things. You keep forwarding those things until you forward what will. I read on Twitter, which day was that, a boy that lost his job. I don't know if you saw it, because he either he forwarded or he tweeted that Zenith Bank is a very useless bank. Maybe they even debited him or something. He may even be right in that moment, but it's not everything that your feeling says that you say. Even when you don't have to. That's why I'm always hard on, especially for a man. And women, I don't mean no disregard. Please understand me. Last, someone will marry you. You'll be all right. But a man, you must have more sense than that. And it was just one of the interviewers. Those ones that don't talk at interview, they are the devils. He just stood down there. You were just looking at him. You just type his name. This thing is Google. You should do it for yourself once in a while. It can show you your state too. Just put your name. Maybe somebody has even accused you that you impregnated him and ran away. You didn't know. Why every girl is telling you no? Go and just put your name on Google and see what will come up. It will tell you an idea of what you are doing with your time. And that tells you an idea of what you are becoming. And he said, sorry, are you Mr. So-and-so? He said, you handle this one. I said, yes. I said, 2014, you tweeted this. Yes, sir. We can't give you a job in a place that you say is worse than hell. I mean, it's common sense. There are already 20 people. They don't even have anything against him, but there are already 20 people, 30 people, and they are looking for a way to reduce them. I was sharing with me one of our people's interview and stuff this morning, that the things they were asking has to do with whether you come early for this one, come early for that. And why is that? She told the people gisting her. So when pastors say these things, they look at his heart. It's just any sensible person wants to see how you are doing in your everyday life. Any idiot can say he can do everything. We check your routine before that time. That tells us who you are. So don't slander people. Don't forward messages. At most read. I don't read forwarded messages, devotional, undevotional, anything. I delete. In fact, all the devotional people have archived them. I don't even see their message. I'm not interested. I will read my Bible. If I want, I will go to YouTube. I still have messages I have not finished. I listened to message after prayer that extended mine early this morning. I listened to message till 2:30 there before I slept off. I know what to do to grow my spirit. Because you see, faith comes by hearing, fear comes by hearing as well. And that's why all we are preaching is not working. Because you believe the lie of the devil more than the Bible. Nobody will make it in Nigeria. That's the thing. I used to invite them to forward it, a contraption called Nigeria. And I studied all the people that abuse Nigeria before they traveled abroad. They are all struggling. The ones I know, and I keep telling them, it is a principle thing. You carry who you are to where you are going. Nigeria is not a contraption. We are making money. We are doing well. I don't know about you, but the good of this land is for me and my family, and we will receive it. So, slanderers, that's the next one, Abi. No, that's the one I just finished. Then it says without self-control. That's the next one. Without self-control. From sex to drugs to alcohol to food to work, whatever we do, we often do it without self-control. Women will tell you they should not be angry. Shopping is what we like to do. It's lack of self-control. And say, if I take 3-4 bottles, my brain reset. It's lack of self-control. So once in a while, control yourself. That you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. That you have power for it doesn't mean you should. I look at people, for example, and Mommy Harumi was sharing this yesterday. This their finance convention going on, and it's funny. You don't have money. You said you know your level. Now you want to go and price something. Then you appear bigger than even where you are going to price. They will give you a different price. You start making money. What tells you, what makes you think you should change your house from 1 bedroom to a duplex all of a sudden? As somebody that I know, work closely with, that moved to a duplex, they gave me the reason. I said, no problem. I said, but when that person goes, any sensible agent will increase the money, because you are not an old tenant. They don't increase for old tenant like that, but new tenant. And immediately they use the money of that person, the free whatever they got, they moved it to almost $1 million. And in rent, the first one is not the problem. They always come quick. I don't know how God does it. It's the next one, and the next one, and the next one. That is where consistency becomes key. And I quickly made it clear. Say, you are living in a house that is even bigger than the one I'm living in. There's no way I'll give you money. So let's just be clear about it. I said, but knowing me, you think I can't afford to live anywhere I want to live? So that's how it looks like. I have bastard of money. No, it is wisdom, because the first mark of growth in your life is the wisdom of God. When your money increases, your lifestyle should not change. There is nothing. How many places do I sleep? What I need a private place for now, I'm telling God, is not that I can't live with some people anymore, because things I want to do. I mean, somebody's dog will start barking now that I'm recording. Those things, I can't take them anymore. So God, do something. And he told me he will do something. I should give him a few time. He will sort me out. Fine. Other than that, how many places do I sleep? Most men will come back, eat, and stay on the seat there, and they are forgetting themselves there. It's 3 a.m. they will come and wake you. And by the time you get inside, you can't find sleep again. You open your eyes at 6, you are awake. So you rent 4 7-bedroom apartment that you are not using, and you are paying rent, and you are complaining you are broke. You will be broken. That's why my new book that I'm not sure if I have the energy, but it may come out for Finance Summit, Broke by Choice. That's the title of the book. Thank you. Broke by choice. Because all our brokenness, money now, not brokenness in the spirit, all our being broke, most times the devil is just 10% of it. Bad lifestyle is 90%. You want to change your phone, there's nothing wrong in that. But you start asking yourself, okay, I'm going to change this phone now. You say, why do I want to change it? I want new one. And you see, God is not as mean as you make him look like. You can be direct, say, I just want new one. I'm tired of this one, even though nothing is wrong with it. Then wisdom start asking you, so how will I get the money? I can't take it from my savings, because that's a responsibility. I can't use my salary, it doesn't make sense. So a Christian, first and foremost, just say, I start prophesying, I receive new one. Either it's according to the will of God or not, we will cross that. I mean, that at that point, at the point you would speak to yourself, you just realize that, okay, maybe this phone is not for this year. Maybe I don't need it after all. Let me breathe and rest. Now, You are carrying a phone. Oh God, help me. I can't meet. Let me not just distract myself. He was holding. Imagine somebody holding a fold, and he's letting keke napep. You two say, these are the issues. These are the issues. Then you say they stole my phone. Normally, if you're using public transport, the phone that you should be carrying should be equivalent. Understand them. I'm not saying you don't need to have a good phone. I have friends that when they are calling you, you see one small item, one small Nokia. Then when they reach their office, then they bring out from, I don't know where he normally keeps it, then he brings it out. I say, he said this one, they cannot collect it. I said that's wisdom. Because you can't afford to get to that point where you be without self-control. Control yourself. It's lack of self-control that makes you say, I can't wear clothes that somebody has worn and they gave to me. Who are you? I mean, God gives you opportunity to save money on not buying clothes. Clothes that if you buy once in your salary, you cannot sustain. I were supposed to give out some things, some suits. So I told my PA, say go to the wardrobe and bring out these colors, let's see. And he brought them out, and I like, the devil is using you. That if he said this is okay, this is okay. So if you give this one out, don't you know you create a taste in this person that I said this suit, if you wear it, you will not want to wear anything again, or except at this level, and that's the devil setting that person up. Then so return it. Now this one, I don't like good things, I don't like good things because you are broke and poor. There are some shoes when you wear them, you know, your headache is as the size of your head. If your head is small, your headache will be small. If you are driving car, like we used to drive rickety, you know those cars I used to drive us there. You see all these things, they are worldly. No problem. Then when you upgrade, you find out that you can't go down again. Now I can only go up here, or God keep me here, or move me up. Self-control, you need to learn it. It will help you in many things. It will help you in food. I have dangerous ways of teaching my family. So that's when people say I'm mad, I just laugh. That you should come and live with me. Ask those that live with me, people that work with me. Just to make sure, if I think you are sleeping too much, just to make sure I kill it. It's 2 a.m. You see, you're laughing. It's 2 a.m. I'm waking you up. So I need tea. Go and bring tea. So after all, I'm not asleep. How can the master not be sleeping and the servant is sleeping? Wake up. Stay. So at times when I say I'm not staying in the office, I see rejoicing in people's heart. And I'm like, are these people born again? God, help my children. I can put food that you like and tell you, don't touch it. My wife can give you a course on that. Because I did it to her severally. I said, no, you can't touch it. And if he touches it, I come hard on her. I used to tell her that it's not a big deal. But you should be able to, if you can't get to a point where you can walk away from something, then look at your self-control, sincerely speaking. Sincerely speaking. Because the world is telling us we should do whatever we want to do. It says men will be brutal. Cruel and brutal is nothing new as well. You will see it. You know, when you read American newspapers, I used to do a lot, then I stopped. Because it was not good for my mental health. 2 friends argue over beer on campus. Say, I like to drink 3-3. It's star that I drink. So you go and buy 3-3, and the person that has the star, you are angry that, okay, if I'm not drinking, you are not drinking. And as that one, I'm telling you a real life story now, as that one was pouring away the beer, the other one came, saw him, and stabbed him to death. That's cruelty. And before you shout Jesus, like my daughter just did, what about that person that said no to you? Didn't you go and write in the person's book, jaga jaga? Say, I will show you that I'm also crazy. Then you cover it and put it down. Or you eat the food, pour sand inside, cover it and put it down. It's cruelty. You say, I've not killed somebody. You are practicing already. And these things you'll be tempted to do it. Because people will test you in ways that you can't even begin to imagine. But you see, them pushing you and you doing it They are two different things. God will judge you for doing it. God will also judge them for doing what they have done by pushing you. And that's the beauty of it. He says, don't be offended. He also said the person causing the offense will also receive his own punishment. So God is not unjust. He doesn't overlook everything. But things with God, they are not consensual. They are mutually exclusive. You obey what he has told you, regardless of what the other person is doing to you. We struggle with it in marriage a lot. A loving husband provided for the family, the wife very, very inconsiderate. Most men will stop doing it. You have failed, because God will judge you separately and will judge the woman separately. Abortion, that's cruelty. Some countries have made it a law. You can terminate at will. Some do it because when they've tested the baby is having issues and all that. That is not abortion. Those are medical decisions. But I'm talking about you saying, oh, I don't want anything to spoil my life right now. I want to be enjoying the sex, but I don't want the responsibility that comes with it. It says men will be traitors, right? Headstrong, haughty, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. It's all the same. Self. A traitor is a selfish person. Is headstrong, stubborn more than stone, is a selfish person. Because stubbornness is that you want your way alone and nothing else. You see, when you have a resolution, that is informed decision. Now let me rephrase that to informed stubbornness. Stubbornness that is based on the fact that this is what God has said. But every time a superior argument is presented to you, you are expected to shift ground. I mean, how can you say, as far as you are concerned, they've written exams, they told you failed it, they did the example, they calculated, you say, no, I still think my answer is right, yours is wrong. I mean, the teacher, the originator, the inventor, all of them said the same thing. You are just foolishly stubborn. You should just chop your L, chop your loss, and say, oh, I failed this thing, I will do it again. A haughty person, selfish. Lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, or self. What is praying by 12 midnight? Pastor is disturbing us. Forgetting that pastor has forgiven or excused fasting. I'm waiting for Mixella to send me the report so that I can look at it. Lovers of pleasure, lovers of sleep. The Lord help you. Amen. Now you look at all the advertising slogans. I used to, on these Arab NBC stations, I don't know if you see them, even cable TVs, they do fantastic adverts. I just realized some things are all set up by the devil. There are some chocolates that normally if you eat that one that what they call it now, that one that the local one, it's also chocolate. The boy sugar, it turn brown. They put something, roll it inside nylon, and give you 5 naira. But now you have cable, your lifestyle is going to change, because as you put it on, what you are seeing is Ferrero Rocher chocolate that melts in the mouth. Then you see them put like, you are going on normal shopping, you have written your list, but as you enter, you saw the same thing. First, your flesh talks to you that once you start eating this now, you are living foreign life. So the list is 40,000 that you budget. You end up doing 56,000. Most times, even though at times I overdo it, I must admit with intention. But when we go for shopping, that's what we argue back. And I said no. That if we say we are going now, we don't write list. Money is not the problem. But if we have said this is the list, I don't care. So that's why they say I don't say yes. They accused me yesterday, I don't say yes. My precious daughter, they have never seen me say yes to any request before. I said no problem. When I say yes, you are not there. And when Jesus say yes, nobody can say no. When Jesus say no, nobody can say yes. So I'm following my father. Simple. Try it when you go for shopping. Stick to the list. To help your lover of pleasure lifestyle, say okay, 5,000 extra in accounting. We call it miscellaneous. Say okay, 5,000 or 10,000 extra. Other than that, nothing. And it's so bad with me, you can pack the whole cart. I know the amount. There was one time we We bought something maybe around 105 or something. Then the lady pressed 150 something. I said, it can't be correct. And that day we even argued on some things they picked that I did not approve. So when her anger cooled down, she said, oh, so with all those anger you were faking, you still knew the price of everything. I said, nothing. It's just his natural inbuilt. You are picking it. His mind are just calculating it, I said, madam, there is no way that is 154,000. Because she had debited me and you must always check when you buy. Except you are stealing the money or you have one sugar daddy that's giving you somewhere. But even after a while, it will tire. I said, no, this is not correct. I said, this is not correct. I said, point. Let's start again. That is not correct. He said, but it's machine. I said, I don't care. Machine is used by human. This thing is not more than 105. At most, 104.7 something. Then we started again. It was 104.710. So first of all, look at me like a devil first. And I said, oh, she made a carton here instead of one item. I said, we all make mistakes. Say, please, give me back my money. He said, it has to be the supervisor. I said, I don't care if it is God Almighty. Call the person down here now and give me back my money. I was looking at me like, I don't know, like big man. Big man, holding my money. Give me my money back. If I want to give you, I will give you. Self-control. Very important. Like a month ago, before Advantage or so, I went to buy fuel. 11,000 or so, or 12,000 something. And the guy was laughing with me, playing with me. Which I was playing. Then he pressed POS, placed 13,000, rounded up the money. I said, no, that's not what is on this thing. Look at, I said, change it. You think all the, my head is not correct. Change the thing back to what is there. I said, exactly what is there. They are paying you salary, I didn't know. So when he did, his face changed when he turned back. I said, I don't know you, I don't care to know you. That next time, don't be a thief, be direct. Sir, can you give me extra money? Anything for me. You can't use that is lack of your self-control. I said, and if you continue like this, so maybe this is why you are working as an attendant, that you look like you'll be a thief if you continue this way, because you are upset now that I'm collecting my money back. No, that is not right. And he was wearing band of churches sticker and all that, and I have no problem. I'm not saying the church is the problem. People don't even church right anyway. They go to church, they don't even listen to what is being said. So that's why I said it's a product of bad pastoring for a lot of people. So you see, they tell you nothing is taboo when you are doing advert. Break all the rules. To know is to do. No boundaries, no enjoyment. Relax. All things goes. Just go and Google advert slogans. Find your own road. Feel good factor. We are all sinners. Do what makes you human. Live life to the fullest. Just do it. And that is actually that's Nike's brand. That's Nike's brand. And the message is simple. It revolves around you. If you like it, do it. You answer to no one. No one matters. It is me. The world revolves around me. And we wonder why we raise entitled people. Now, we don't have to choose between pleasure and God. Because serving God is the ultimate pleasure you should chase after. It says that will show me the path of life. But because in your presence, there is fullness of joy. That's Psalm 16 now. And at your right hand, there are what? Pleasures evermore. That's why I find it hard to believe people's Christianity when I hear something that says Christianity is boring because we pray and read the Bible. It is sin in you that is more. It is sin in you that is more. So the greatest pleasure is serving God, doing what he wants you to do. It gives joy. And the last one, it says having a form of godliness, right? Yes, sir. But denying the power thereof. People feel free to do whatever they want to do. When you allow some of these things Paul has written, are you with me now? It turns you into what they call a fast food religion. That's you pick whatever you want to pick and leave the rest. You pick and choose and feel free to leave the rest. Because picking and choosing some of these things make you feel spiritual. Like that man that told Jesus, I have kept the law, I have done this one. But something is still missing. Don't feel spiritual but have no sense of obligation to be biblical. That is not true spirituality. Don't feel spirituality without being biblical. That is not spiritual. I mean, we've been looking at that for 2 services now. In the 90s in the US, there was a reverend that conducted a funeral for 2 old people in their 90s. And he said he was so close to these people that they could pass as his parents. And it was broken. People saw him cry genuinely. Form of godliness. No power of character change. 3 days later, policemen entered the church, handcuffed him, and walked him away. During interrogation and everything, it was discovered that he is the pastor of the church. It was discovered that he was the one that killed both couples. Why? Because they are old, they trusted him. I think they made him maybe their trustee or third party liaison for their money. So their retirement funds, old people's funds and all that. You know, some of these old guys abroad, they have plenty of money. So he started stealing the money, started using it for himself. Lack of self-control. And they asked him a simple question, confronted him, old people, and he felt there was no need. He killed them. And not just killed them, waited 24 hours to say he discovered their body. Took one day to relax himself at the beach. That's why at times, as a pastor, when you do some of those things, and maybe older guys start talking, you think their ways are difficult. Because I mean, as a pastor, I'm not saying you can't relax. You can relax in your house. You can find a good resort center to relax. Well, he went to the beach to enjoy his life. And the policeman said, this is why, that's why I'm telling you this story. When I read it, said, this is why I can never join you guys. That you guys are hypocrites. You say one thing, you do another thing. That simple logic. It's only a killer. It says it's only someone that doesn't know the God is calling that will kill people and still rest for 24 hours before reporting it himself. So when I say those statements that, oh, he's not born again, it looks like I'm judgmental. But is this person born again? You say, oh, anybody can commit sin. Yes. The problem is not that he killed them. It's a bad sin in itself. But the relaxation of waiting 24 hours plus speaks to nature. I mean, how can I be preaching like this, and be able to sleep with such kind of evil? And it goes on and on. Form of godliness. Preach right, talk right, but do wrong things. It's a form of godliness. And Paul says, from such people, do what? He didn't say you should pray. He didn't say, you can pray, intercede for them, but he never said you should be their friends. Because these spirits, it's easy to pull somebody that is up down than you up, lift somebody up. So that's why you have to guard your associations. And of late, God has been calling my attention to it, actually, that I should re-audit still. Re-auditing, for me, could mean that there are people that God wants me to pull in, that maybe I don't like them, and there's no sin in me not liking people. I still love them. I mean, I still have people that I can't even stand the discussion with, because liking people, there has to be similarities. I'm speaking with teaching because we connect at a deep spiritual level. We think the same way. Now, I can't call you now. We are talking about how our children will be all right, I'll be okay. You are saying that AY is coming to town. Let us go. There will be a problem. I have nothing against AY. We can't just be friends. Because AY is doing what he's doing, is being rich. And it is the poor that makes the rich rich. Because you keep buying what they are selling. I'm not saying you should not buy. Do you know that economy as a word is the study of lack, not the study of finance? Just Google it. It's from the word economia. It's the study of lack. So they created economics to determine how people let me not say that one now, so that they will not come from my head. I said, so these people just discovered this thing so that they will find out to make you keep lacking something, so that you're forever needing it, and those are the upper part will be rich. So the goal is you to move to that upper level. Because I'm not saying now, I say you want to go and change. I'm not studying economics again. No, study. So it says, from such people, turn away. People who do the things on this list are common today. They are even often our heroes, influencers, and Instagram handlers. The same responsibility of Christians to turn away from this attitude is also the same thing they must do to turn away from the people. So Paul is telling Timothy here, these things must not be found in you. You must also not be found in the company of them that are doing it. Simple. Don't think because I'm not like this, that is all that I need. The Bible tells us over and over, bad company corrupt good manners. You see that in 1 Corinthians 15:33. Solomon said, he that walks with the wise shall be wise, right? But the companion of fools shall be destroyed. So you don't have to be foolish to be destroyed. That's the understanding I got the first time I read that place. And that's why it seems, even in ministry, you know, I don't have so many friends. You don't have to be a fool to be destroyed. You just have to be friend to a fool. And that is really strong if you cool down to think about it. It says from such turn away, because these people, you will meet them every day. They are in churches, they are in mosques, they are in business place, they are everywhere. If you do, I don't discriminate against any religion. From such, turn away. Marry me, it doesn't matter. You can be going to church, like they told my wife some years back. You'll be going to church, I love you, go to church, I go to mosque. From such, turn away. It's up to you. Because this exhortation clearly implies that the moral depravity pictured here by Paul is something that you just don't have to avoid alone. You have to be vigilant that it doesn't creep into your life. Remember, the price for liberty, like I always say, is unending vigilance. You have to be vigilant. Father, Lord, we thank you for your word and the power that is in your word. We ask that these words, you will remind us by your spirit every now and then, bringing us into the reality of them all. We move beyond the letter. We move to spirit experiences. Above all, may we be like Christ. May we please him in all we do, to the glory of your name. In Jesus' precious name we pray. Amen.